Yo, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. My name is Cody Vondell, and I'm back today with the best free fonts for Y2K aesthetic. Like last week's episode, today's is very special. I just released my brand new Vectorheart template, available for just a few dollars on my Etsy. We are going to be combining today's best free fonts with various shapes from my new template to create full-blown illustrations in Photoshop, combining color, typography, photography, and vector work. Before we get started, I just gotta say thank you all so much for liking, commenting, subscribing to my channel, and sharing my videos. It means so much to me that the work that I'm doing here on these videos is helping you with your designs. And if you want to show off what you've been creating, please hop on our Discord. We have nearly 300 members on the server right now. We're sharing tips, tricks, memes, music, templates, whole lot of free resources. It's a really inspiring, fun community, and I'm very thankful for the people who are on there. Let's take a moment really quick to look at what everybody on the server has been creating. Like I said, a very, very inspiring place to be. So many cool people. If you're working along with me on screen, please hop on our Discord and join the community. If you want to support my channel, you can hop over on my Etsy right now, get you some pins, patches, stickers, t-shirts, design templates. And if you like my intro, outro, and background music, I create it all. Just search Cody Vondell on Spotify or your favorite streaming service. I'm also available on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. And of course, at Cody Vondell on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. If you're using some of my templates and resources, feel free to tag me in your post. With all that being said, here are today's fonts. As always, links are in the description. All right, so we are starting with Husky, and we're gonna go ahead and start bringing some vector shapes into a Photoshop document and start playing with some color. I'm thinking sort of a purplish background is what I want to do, and we'll play with some hotter colors. We'll pull these little bubbles in from the vector template, and maybe we'll start out with pink, but we might end up with something a little bit hotter colored. Maybe we'll just play a little bit more with the color on these little bubbles. I'm thinking like an orange or yellow might look cool. Yeah, something like that. Really like that. Let's go ahead and convert to outlines so that we can kind of play with those corner edges, soften the edges up, round them out a little bit. And play with our kerning some more. Maybe we can just pull like a single little piece or something like that. That works. Something cool like that. Yeah, let's do that. I like that. Yeah, something like that. That ought to work. We'll bring that layer forward and sort of put an outline on it. Change the color. And I'm thinking something like that. We might go kind of minimal on this one. I know I want to have some of these little drippy pieces coming off these bubbles, so let's work on that. We'll go ahead and change the layer style, make sure the color matches the white or the yellow that we're using. Something like that looks cool. Yeah, and start adding it in over here. That's already starting to look cool. And you can bring some down here. And yeah, now we're just, we've pretty much got all the pieces that we want. It's really just about placing them in cool spots. Bringing all these up so that we can see a little bit more of that drippy paint. So now we're going to come in here and just kind of touch up little things here. Make sure that like the rounded edges on the dripping paint are visible and all that kind of stuff. Just playing around with these kinds of things, you know? And we'll fill in that little spot. And it's simple, but I really like the way this has turned out. Almost has like a honeycomb or barnacle in the ocean kind of feel. I don't know. It feels sort of natural, but the vector shapes obviously kind of give it that fun kind of graffiti look overall. Yeah, I think dripping out of the white, that actually looks kind of cool. We'll pull those guys up just a tiny bit. And we'll fill that back in. And we'll name a couple of these layers. Sometimes I forget to do that, but it is always best to name your layers because it can get really confusing in Photoshop when you're not naming layers. So yeah, we've copied it, cloned it, put a quick little halftone pattern on, and that is a finished logo. And next up is Delta Phoenix. We've gone ahead and pulled these arrows over from the Vectorheart template. And we are just kind of placing them in here. We're going to grab some of these circles. We're going to be going for sort of, I don't know, everything it seems like. My memories of like high school, like in the 2000s and stuff, everything had this kind of look, at least the stuff that I was interested in. I feel like you'd see this on music to like basic marketing for like food and stuff. Like you'd see this kind of style everywhere. So we're gonna be playing along with that kind of style today. So we're just gonna drop in our Delta Phoenix logo with that little volume kind of thing. I think that looks pretty cool. We'll just fill in that space there behind it, put an outline on, and we'll drag the chevron over here. This is looking pretty fun, but I think the chevrons maybe, I've also included in the template a half chevron that I think might look better with these curved arrows than the full chevron. Something about the hard angles and the curved angles. I just don't think that's really working for me. I think something like that's just gonna be a little bit more comfortable. Yeah, already that feels more comfortable than like the full chevron. So, you know what I really think this could use is a breakdancer. Somebody jumping up, having a fun time. So this is not in the template. You can find stuff like this for free on Google though. We'll grab one of these big chunky Vectorheart pieces and kind of change the color to white and start just playing with the layering and placement, all that kind of stuff. Getting various pieces and putting them together and seeing what shapes fit best together. And I expect that if you're on this channel watching this stuff, it's the kind of stuff that you have a lot of fun doing. So yeah, solving these kind of puzzles and graphic design is my life. It's like what I do all day, every day. I've been doing it for years and I love it, and I love to share what I'm doing with friends. So here we are. So maybe we can use a change of color real quick. I'm already feeling bored with the yellow. Maybe we'll do orange or pink or something. We'll stick with orange for now. We might end up going with pink for our final though. So we'll put this little border in here. I already think that border is looking pretty cool. So that's our logo. We're gonna try to fill that in a little bit, make that look kind of cool. And I'm gonna create these. Something like that. Fill that all in. Boom, yeah, that's really looking cool. That's fun. And I think we can merge these layers, clone them, and put our halftone overlay on it, because there's another finished piece. Cool. And for our last font, Mr. Furley, we are going to continue in that same kind of style from the last one, to switch up the colors, bring in this little cityscape, and kind of use these pieces to sort of feel like, kind of give some perspective to the graphic. We'll turn this, put an angle on everything, and start playing around with layering. So yeah, just following in that same style that we used on the last one, and we'll add in our font, Mr. Furley, here pretty soon. So yeah, I think maybe some shapes like this, we just gotta rotate them the right way. Thinking that is the shape we are gonna use. I already like the way that it's kind of fitting in with the city there. And we might create some little telephone wires really quick. Electric wires, whatever you want to call those. Kind of place them like this. Something like that looks cool. Bring in this halftone pattern. Again, this is something that you can find for free on just a quick Google search. Halftone pattern. PNG. That'll make it even easier. So now we're just playing more with these layers. Just creating fun Vectorheart abstract pieces. And I guess we'll bring in a few more of these little circles because they feel really cool. And like I said, we're kind of continuing that same style from the last design, so that kind of works. Something along those lines. Maybe we can bring it forward. And yeah, so many things that I was into as a kid just had, or I guess in my teen years in the 2000s, had that kind of look. So now we're just kind of playing with the kerning a little bit on Mr. Furley. And we'll go ahead and just drop him in right here. Kind of make sure that he has that same, well, we want to make sure we have that thick outline for that Y2K style. Yeah, we'll make sure it's at the same angle. We get that angle by holding shift as we rotate. And we're giving a little tagline, run the block. Mr. Furley out here running the block. Cool. That is feeling like a finished piece. Just got to fill in some little spaces over here. And I think we got another finished piece, y'all. So check out all those details. And next up is going to be Bureau Destruct font. It's BD L side. And we are going to go ahead and start playing with some of these vector shapes. So we'll copy these and kind of create sort of like a little color scheme. Thinking like a hot colors color scheme will look cool. And maybe we can place it over here. And we'll see what else we can do with it. L side is definitely the font that we'll be using today. So we'll get a big old 96 in there. That's looking big and chunky. I like it. Pull some of these colors from the stripes. And right now we're just playing with color schemes and playing with general ideas. The final version of this design is not going to look anything like what we have right now, but that's just part of the design process. Especially when you're playing with a template as big as this one that we have today, just going in there and figuring out what you want to use and how you want to use it. So a lot of the Y2K aesthetic stuff sort of draws inspiration from 60s and 70s futurism. So this almost leans more towards that 60s, 70s futurism than the actual Y2K stuff itself. So there is our main phrase, Daytona, using Bureau Destruct's L side. And we're just trying to figure out how we want to place it. We're just having a really fun time with this. So yeah, really playing with those 70s hot colors. That's the best way I could describe this whole color scheme and design right now. And having a fun time while we do it. That's what's important here. This is not client work, this is having fun. So we're exploring, and that's what it's all about. We're just gonna film this little spot here. And now we're actually leaning closer towards a final design. We pulled this kind of radiating sun circle thing right out of the vector template. We're placing Daytona 96 in here. So this feels like it was made in the 90s, but it is referencing the 70s. Turn that outline on a little bit. Cool. I know I want to pull this hot color scheme in that we were playing with earlier. And we will turn that sort of sideways maybe. Maybe we can bring it down here and possibly bring the sun up a little bit, make it a little smaller. I think we're just missing a little element, maybe something like that. We can just sort of turn sideways and make it a little smaller and play with like the colors, figure out what we want to do for the colors there. The yellow works. Pull it up here and kind of reflect it. Something like that's really simple, but honestly, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's visually appealing. I think we've got a finished design right here. We're just gonna kind of change that yellow. That yellow is a little too hot, and I think something like this will a little more of a taxi mustard yellow. I think that's it right there. So we'll fill in these little spaces, these little spots right here. Just gotta select the right color. That's looking nice. Maybe we can put a little border on the outside to give it sort of a that retro kind of, really pushing the retro look on this. This feels a little bit less Y2K and more of like a Y2K reference to like the 70s. But that just, it's a versatile template. You guys are gonna have a lot of fun with this thing. Having a fun time doing it. We're just kind of playing with that border a little bit more now. filling it all in, and boom, I think we've got a finished product. We're gonna select all these layers, copy them, merge them, and then clone that and put a halftone pattern on. Boom, details are looking great. That's another one down. BDL side. We have one more, operational amplifier, and this one is a lot of fun. We're gonna go ahead and pull that same little kind of half a chevron piece. It has sort of like an under construction kind of vibe. We're gonna make this operational amplifier signal volume 3. I don't know what it means, but it sounds cool, so that's what we're doing. Signal volume 3, 622, and we'll just scale that down something along those lines, and we'll pull this guy over here, make it like opacity of like 25%, like orange or something like that. And maybe we can make, push this back a little bit. Perfect, yeah, that's gonna look really cool and be easy to just drag the whole thing right into Photoshop. All right, so here we are placing it into Photoshop, and once again, it's like a brand new puzzle to solve, so let's figure it out. I might put a slight color overlay on that lightning so it's not quite so bright. And we've just pulled a few pieces over from the vector template, and we're just kind of placing them around. This isn't the design we're gonna stick with, but we're just kind of playing with some shapes really quick. It doesn't look awful, but it's not really what I want for the final piece. Start playing with just like layer styles. I always like doing like turning the fill to 0 and then only having outlines on. That always looks really cool in your layer styles. This doesn't look bad, but I just don't think it's exactly what we want. Maybe here's another way we could handle it, is like having these kind of abstract white lines kind of like going into the logo there. That looks kind of cool. Again, I don't think it's what we're going to stick with. I think what we're going to stick with is something really simple, just to kind of add a consistency. Operational amplifier has these little chevron, half chevron kind of shapes, so we can pull that up here. It's a really simple in comparison to some of those other things that we are like trying out, but I think just overall, like, it doesn't always have to be over the top. Like, sometimes things can be a little bit simple and the design can work that way. So I think overall, just trying to figure out placement where we want to have the operational amplifier. I think right there is just really working for me overall. So we can scale down the yeah, I think that's it right there. So let's just copy and paste, put on our color halftone, and right there, look at those details. And that wraps up today's video. Just like that, you can get a couple of free fonts. Support my channel by heading over to Etsy and picking up my new template. And within minutes, you can be creating stuff just like this. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I have a ton of fun stuff planned for the summer that you don't want to miss. I've been working on my own new font. It's called Googie. I've got a video on the way talking about my design process and how I'm turning it into a rich text format so that other designers can download it and use it in their designs. As you can tell, we are expanding the Best Free Font series. We're going to be exploring fonts for all kinds of different aesthetics. We're also going to be taking a look at collections from specific designers, starting with Y2K TV and Bureau Destruct. Later this month, I'm going to be visiting family back home, and while I'm there, I'm planning to dig up some of my old artwork from the Y2K era. There's going to be a lot of stuff that we can have a laugh at and maybe even get inspired by and recreate now. If you want to take a look at some of the stuff I've been creating recently, I just did a video on how to write graffiti in Photoshop and Illustrator. We took one of our Best Free Font logos and turned it into a rotating 3D hologram using After Effects and Element 3D. And I also put this brand new Vectorheart template to the test, creating a rave flyer for Tim Reaper. So that wraps us up for the day. I can't wait to hear from you all on Discord, and I will see you next week in my next video. Thank you all.